let's move on to Maria Binetti. Okay, over to you, Maria.
We started to organize our local campaign between 2019 and 2020. I met with a group of 5 or 6 women then to think about our local version of WDI. We thought it would be better to take a local name in Spanish and set up a shorter version of the International Declaration for strategic and pedagogic purposes. At that time, we didn't have the Spanish page of the declaration, and we thought it was a problem to introduce in Argentina a campaign in English. So we decided to take a local name and a local version of the declaration. That is how the campaña argentina por el reconocimiento de los derechos de las mujeres basados en el sexo was born. This is our page. We have now more than 700 signatures. This model has the advantage of better reflecting the local context, but the disadvantage of reduplicating signatures and formats. So we need an effort to unify the format between our local campaign and the international format. Last year, we joined forces with the Buenos Aires Women Museum, signatory of the International Declaration, and decided to offer together a series of webinars. And we also invited several lawyers to join the group of the campaign as a legal arm of the campaign. There were and there are very important, for example, to write the complaint to the Commission of the Status of Women, which, by the way, nobody replied yet. And considering the local context we face, I see some started difficulties in general, in some shared difficulties in general, some common difficulties. The first one is to lose fear. Even ourselves and even myself, many women have left the campaign because of fear. I myself, at the beginning, didn't know what I could say or what not, or how far I could say it. And so speaking clearly is essential to learn from each other and to lose fear. That is a first difficulty. The second one would be that many women have no idea what we are talking about. They still think that we are talking, that the trans issue is an issue of extension of rights. So they have no idea of the danger of is over us. And the third difficulty is that, in my view, we need a more proactive agenda, not to be behind them behind the trans group in a reactive way, but a more proactive agenda. This year, we decided to focus on adding more women to work and advance in strategic actions. The most recent and maybe the most important action we did this month, exactly, is the legal precautionary measure against the National Institute of Statistics and Censuses of Argentina, asking them to remove the category of woman from the gender identity options in the census that is coming now in Argentina. I will show you, we also did these flyers about the coming census. You will see in the census we have 2 categories. One is the, I will show you here. One is the sex registered at birth, and in sex we have a woman or female, we have men or male, and we have X, because in Argentina we have 3 sexes. And we have also another category, which is gender identity. And in gender identity, we have also women and men and trans women and, well, trans men and transvestites and non-binary, and there are the options that we have in gender identity. But the point is that women and men and trans women and trans men are in gender identity. So there was a sort of deliberation between us, which I think it is a real issue to discuss, on whether we should request the complete removal of the gender identity as category, or just the removal of women from the gender identities. Finally, we consider that the second option much more strategic. We follow in this point the same line drawn by Fair Price for Women in England last year. And in the context of Argentina, where gender identity is law and is a culture, because gender identity is becoming a culture. So the strategy is for me at least, and we agree in that, to take women off gender's identity. So to prevent women from being a gender identity or a gender, one more gender, here in the case of the census, but in general. Well, as coming actions, we have planned a plenary session for next month to join women from the different places in the country. And we have many points for improvement. For example, improvement activism in social networks, improvement lobbying, legal advice and tactics, international reports, and federal coordination. One of the most important goals this year for the campaign is to stop the modification of the national law of violence against women. Argentina has an excellent law on violence against women, but the Ministry of Genders that we have in Argentina, genders in plural, plans to change this law to introduce in this law all the genders. So conflate women as a gender identity. So I guess the most important movement this year is to stop this modification. And for that, we need a federal coordination with many women along the country. And we are also waiting the legal resolution of the judges about the census case. If we win this case, that would be great and excellent news, because that would mean that woman is not a gender identity, so it's a sex. So that would be great to win this case. But if we lose, we have to consider an international move, because it is also a scandal to say that in Argentina, for Argentina, woman is a gender identity. So the outcome is still open. We have to see the result, but maybe we win, I hope.